Ah. Beautiful. Does anybody have one of these? Who has one? Nice. Wow, a good amount of people. Do you know what it is? Singing bowl. Maybe you've seen it on Gwyneth Paltrow's show. What is that? What's her show called? Goop. Oh my gosh. But these things are really cool. I mean, talk about neuroplasticity. It's such a simple thing. You know, it's really amazing what the Tibetan monks were able to come up with and conceive, combining different metals. And when these bowls, different sizes, different frequencies, you know, seem to have an effect, at least just on a vibrational level, if not on an actual emotional level. It's interesting. You know, I've experimented with people with Parkinson's, and their trembling stops playing this. And it's just interesting that experimenting it in a practical way is really potent. It's amazing that there isn't a lot of research for this, and maybe that's something to come. Okay, so who am I? What's going on? Well, I think that's important first. I think there's no way I can talk to you guys without giving you guys some sort of background of who I am. So I went to medical school, and I was in medical school for 3 years. I was a biology major in college at UC Davis. I know who went to Davis? Oh my God, Davis, Aggies, yeah. I'm surprised there were more Davis people. I went to medical school, and in med school, I didn't really have access to any self-care practices. You know, this was back in the early, mid-2000s, and so really meditation hadn't really gone that big yet. Yoga wasn't that big. I'm Indian, and I didn't even practice yoga. And I started feeling the effects of stress and not sleeping well, and then trying to keep up with everybody and the competition. And I myself also was really struggling with the aspect. When I grew up, I always wanted to be a scientist. And that's what I wanted to do. Like as a kid, I lived at a library. So I love learning and reading and studying and asking questions and exploring, you know, and in my life and in school as well. And so when I got to med school, I started feeling that pressure of I'm not really practicing science anymore. I was more and more for it was happening. I couldn't ask questions. And I felt stressed by that and oppressed by that a little bit. And so I started actually popping opioids in med school. And it was just a way to cope. And I just kept popping more and more. Eventually, I was popping almost 20 a day, you know, while I'm working and studying and everything. And it was amazing that I was still so functional. But it also shows, you know, I still am very aware and conscious that there's a lot of practicing physicians that are struggling from substance abuse. And it's crazy that we would never go to see a mechanic, right, whose cars were terrible, right? But we go to see doctors who might not be healthy. Mind-boggling, right? So anyways, I burned out. I went on a tear. I was about to actually literally going on a journey to kill myself, you know, because I was feeling like I can't do this. I'm not going to finish med school. I don't want to do this anymore. And all my money and my family's money, everything I invested was for this. I mean, med school is a big deal, especially for an immigrant family, right? So I was like, okay, what am I doing? Oh my gosh. And my whole identity is based on this. And it really led me to a deep, dark abyss. And it was 3 months of binging on alcohol, opioids, quitting med school, just completely dropping out, and really getting this really sad space. And the only thing that got me out of it was meditation. And meditation kind of just shifted everything in my life. But it was really a teacher that kind of gave me a really different way to look at meditation. So that's kind of what brings me where I'm at today. When I started meditating, things shifted so much in my life that I was able to access parts of my mind and my body that I never could before. And I still kept exploring medicine, but I started looking at other ways that people practice medicine around the world. Whether Indians, I'm Indian, so it's great to look into Ayurveda. And Ayurveda has such a compendium of knowledge. And there's research in Germany that's like showing so many amazing results. Hopefully we can start catching up with some of that stuff with Ayurveda. Chinese medicine is amazing. There's shamanism from like all around the world. So people have been studying the body and the mind for a long time. It's a lot of research. It's just not Western research. So I was like, all right, let me dive into all those spaces. So I went and studied and lived with different people, different teachers from all walks of life. And in that whole process, I kept doing my own work and doing things I love and working in media and working on Wall Street. Oh my God, I used to not look like this. And working on Wall Street. And, and I've worn many masks, right? But it's been great because it's given me this interesting perspective to be able to enter different arenas, corporate environments, different institutions, and like look at it also in the perspective of well-being, of health, you know, because organizations have health, and when they're not well, the decision-making is bad, or maybe mistakes are happening, or maybe we work towards something that's not really meaningful or purposeful, right? And people then get depressed, and there's all kinds of symptoms that happen from that space. So that's led me on a journey to actually, right now, really focus and hone in on understanding that happiness creates healthiness. And how can I inject happiness into spaces? That's really what my purpose is, is how to bring joyfulness into spaces, but still do it very intelligently, right? Not woo-woo. I know. Come on, all right? I'm not woo-woo, all right? I promise. So I really care about the science. Like, the science is really, really important to me. But I also struggle with something too, right? Once I left medicine, I kind of went on this tear of mysticism. And I was like, whoa, like, what amazing revolutionary science isn't mysticism before it's science? It's that science. Does that make sense? Like, look at our smartphones. If you showed that to somebody 100 years ago, what would they do? Did it run, kill you? Something, right? Wouldn't it be good, right? But like, that's kind of like the way I look at mysticism. It's like, okay, there's these things that we might imagine or conceive of, or maybe, I don't know, there's a lot of unknown elements, but sometimes those unknown elements, when they're brought together in a space where we can actually study and research and put it into practice, those become our reality. What was it? Arthur C. Clarke had a really great quote. Does anybody know it? Any advanced science is indistinguishable from magic. Right? It's interesting to think about. So mysticism kind of led me down this road of being like, okay, so how can we take things like shapes? And how do we take a thing like a shape and just looking at that shape, just like looking directly into the center of that shape? This shape has a mystical element to it, but there's also something it's doing to your brain. Like literally, the neuroplasticity of your brain is being activated just by looking at it. Your left and right hemisphere of your brain are literally speaking to each other. Just looking at it, you don't have to even think anything. Yet this has been invented thousands of years ago, and it's been crossed over so many different cultures and civilizations in the symbology. Interesting, and even us, right? The scientists in here, maybe you've seen this in your science, seen these shapes form naturally. Even when I was playing the singing bowl, that creates shape in water and sand. So vibrations are within us, and they're around us, and they're visual ones, and there's auditory ones, and they have an effect in us. And to me, that's mysticism. That's how I understand mysticism. It's like, this has an effect. But it might not be the same for you as for me, right? Or it might be different for you. It's going to be changing between all of us. So it's really important to see how it works for you. Just a cool tidbit about this one, that my teacher told me that when you look at this, you actually can start to, if you want to, looking right in the center of it, see if you can move the shapes around it. Like almost like a Stargate, See if you can shift, the different shapes around it in your mind. And that's even taking the neuroplasticity of your brain. You're pushing it further now. It's pretty awesome. It's pretty sweet. So this is called a Shiniyantra. Not the Shiniyantra. Did anybody hear shitty? It's not the Shiniyantra, okay? It's not a Shiniyantra, I promise you. Although shit is very important too. I'm not going to go in. That's a whole other conversation, okay? So Shiniyantra is a very ancient form of yantra, are these vehicles, these geometric vehicles in Indian philosophy. And these geometric vehicles have inertia, right? We see them in nature, flowers showing them, exhibiting them. We see them in, when there's any fractal growth, there's these different yantras, right, that are happening. I think, personally, as I've been starting to study mental health, I think mental health, our minds also have yantras. Your thoughts are geometric. Notice, too, we go in cycles, too, with our thoughts. And sometimes those thoughts, they're ingrained into some sort of mosaic in our mind. Like a labyrinth, right? And so sometimes we meditate and we take care of ourselves. We serve other people. We do these practices to enhance our mind and our emotional intelligence. You literally start to create that in your consciousness. And in Indian philosophy, we can actually keep that with us. So we can be walking around in the regular world doing our work, and that could be in our mind. Not worry, not thinking. In fact, let me ask you guys this. Does anybody, is meditation good or bad? I'm going to say it's neither good or bad. Because I will suggest that stress is a meditation. Worry, anxiety is a meditation. For me, meditation is just how you focus, how and what you focus on. Where does your attention go? That's meditation. Running could be meditation, right? Swimming, video game playing could be a meditation. I mean, what? Like, why are we limiting the scope of it? When we limit it, we're actually not understanding that there's a yin and yang to everything. There's a balance. So sometimes when we think about that, we're like, hey, wait, if I'm worrying, that's actually a meditation. I got to stop that. Have you guys ever heard of eustress? So eustress is positive stress, which we're going to be kind of participating in a bit right now. I mean, we're going to be jumping into it very soon. But eustress is positive stress, which to me, that's meditation. Positive meditation. So you can practice mindful meditation, sometimes uncomfortable. You have to look into yourself. You start questioning what's going on. You're like, wait, am I doing it right? Am I supposed to stop? Am I supposed to keep going? All these things are going on in your mind. You're pushing your mind and your body. But it's good stress, because it's like you're actually taking time to center yourself and gain potential energy, maybe? Potential kinetic energy? I wonder where that balance happens. OK, so we're going to be going to the next thing. Everybody's almost done eating, so I was waiting for everybody to kind of like be done with eating. But before we do that, I would love for all of you to check in really quick, like close your eyes, and check in with your body real quick. Check in with your body and your mind to see where it is. I just want you, on a rating scale from 1 to 10, 1 being like you're totally unhealthy, stressed out, don't feel well, ugh, just gross, and 10 being, I feel great, I can do anything, I'm really positive, everything is good. Just assess yourself right now. You don't have to tell anybody. In your own head, find where you're at, what rate you're at, 1 through 10, and just remember that. Awesome. Got it? All right. Is this the card? Is this the number on the card? I'm just kidding. I have to do it. OK, so we're going to do, before we get started, it's going to be so much fun. And great, I have 30 minutes, yes. So it's going to be so much fun, but what we're going to do a little bit of, I've been kind of joking with some people about swarm intelligence. We're going to have to be tapping into a little bit of swarm intelligence right now. You guys cool with that? Is that all right? So we're going to see how quickly we can do some stuff to get set up really fast, right? And the other thing I wanted to share too was the 3 rules. 3 rules of engagement for this, for us to practice this neuroplasticity meditation. So for me, I talked about neuroplasticity, I talked about meditation. What I've been working on and conceiving is combining neuroplasticity and meditation and creating experiences for people in different walks of life, working with kids, elderly people. I've recently worked with the SFPD, like finding different ways to work with different people in different walks of life and to enhance their neuroplasticity of their brain, but in a really fast way. Really, what my goal is that you don't need me ever again. Like, if I succeed, you never have to sign up for any of my book clubs. You don't have to, sign up. You don't have to, do any, you don't have to, follow my 21 days of thing. Like, you got it. You'll be teaching other people. That's what I'm trying to gain from it, all right? So in this space, neuroplasticity, I want you guys to experience this, what we're going to be doing today, and really buy into it. Like this, we have 30 minutes. You guys are going to go back to work. It's going to go back to the same old, same old. Here's an opportunity to do something totally different that might change what happens for the rest of your day, maybe the week, maybe the month, maybe the rest of your life. I don't know. All I know is don't believe anything I say. OK? Do you guys believe me? Don't believe me. Are you believing me? OK, good. Are you believing me? No. Are you believing me back there behind the camera? Are you? Okay, good. Don't believe me, all right? It's good that there's a bunch of scientists here. You can really question me, please, all right? Question me. And I say don't believe me really seriously, actually, because, we should always do the experiment ourselves. Like, if something works for us, great. We can keep it in our toolkit. But if something doesn't work, you don't have to retain it. There's no, forced thing, right? So please don't necessarily adhere to everything I say. Make it your own. Play with it. Have fun. Feel it out. Let it serve you in your way. And that's it. That way you don't hold me accountable if something doesn't go right. Just kidding. But for reals, we're in such a demagogue environment. We are so quick to be like, that person is going to help us, and that person is going to do this, and that person. We are actually, our health and our mental and physical health is for us. We have power in that, Yeah, some other people can help out a little bit, but we really have the ultimate power when it comes to that. To be happy, to die happy, to live happy, right? To wake up happy, to sleep happy, and be healthy because of that. All right, cool. 3 rules. You guys ready? First rule, eye contact. All right, everybody guys, you guys cool with eye contact? Everybody's okay with eye contact, right? Whoa. Everybody's cool with eye contact? Why do we do eye contact? Why is that good? To connect. You guys know what the mirror neuron effect is? When we yawn and we see somebody else yawn, what happens? We yawn. So we have these neurons in our brain that are literally designed to copy each other. So I wanted you guys to play with that when we make eye contact, we can induce different feelings out of people, right? Or we can feel maybe differently. Or get in that space. It'll be fun, okay? Play around. Is that cool? Yes. Easy rule, right? That's not bad. I'm not too serious. I don't look too serious, right, about this stuff. All right, 2. Who here takes themselves seriously? Wow, you guys don't take yourselves seriously? Everyone? I would say, I should ask the other question. Who here doesn't take themselves seriously? Raise your hand. Oh, there we go. Excellent. So you guys can help me, those who don't, right? So in this phase, can we let loose and connect with our inner child? Is that cool? Just for the next 30 minutes, is that fine? Inner child, you guys cool with that? It's not like anybody's recording us or anything, so nobody will see, what we're doing. So, okay, easy rule, third rule. Third rule, super important rule. And there's a lot of interesting science behind this. There's a lot of going back and forth between this in the science of gelotology, like science of laughter, going back and forth between it, faking it. Okay? So I'm going to invite you to fake it till you make it. All right? Is that cool? So sometimes you might not want to do it, and you might not feel natural, but try to do it. And the science is kind of going both ways, because there's science that shows that when you do laugh fakingly, it still does stuff in your body, in your brain, right? But then there's also this interesting bridge that I would love for you to look for. In your own mind, the experiment in your consciousness, when does that bridge happen? Can you feel it? Can you feel when you go from fake laughing to real? And you just you don't have to fake anymore. Look for that space, right? Is that cool? Everybody's got 3 rules, not bad? All right, swarm consciousness. Let's see if we can do this in 2 minutes. What we want to do is be able to toss as much of the garbage, whatever, into the garbage, and get these chairs to the sides, stacked on the sides.